which Portia gave a lovely speech on. Mercy, she gave a speech, and then Shylock, he's waiting for his bond to be followed in front of law, in front of the court of law. He's offering it that an oath, I have an oath in heaven. Shall I lay perjury upon my soul? No, not for Venice. So Shylock says, even if I'm offered thrice the money now, the oath, that means the promise which was made, is a promise, and that was made keeping the gods in mind. They were sanctioned in front of God. And let the laws of Venice not feel me as a somebody who's lying in front of a court, because I was not lying when I agreed for the bond. I followed the oath which was written in that bond. So for Venice, let the jury side with me, let the justice be on my side. It should be given to me. Portia, why this bond is forfeit, and lawfully by this the Jew may claim a pound of flesh to be by him cut off nearest the merchant's heart. Be merciful, take thrice thy money, bid me tear the bond. So now for the last time, Portia again says, okay, you can give up that bond which you had signed and be a lawful Jew. And since in that clause which you said that you should have a pound of flesh next to his merchant's heart, next to Antonio's heart, a pound of flesh could be taken. So make sure that you are merciful and take thrice the money and help me tear off that bond. This is the last time I'm pleading. To this, Shylock says, when it is paid according to the tenor, if doth appear you are a worthy judge, you know the law, your exposition hath been most sound. I charge you by the law, whereof you are a well deserving pillar. Proceed to judgment. By my soul I swear, there is no power in the tongue of man to alter me. I stay here on my bond. So now Shylock says he this bond could have been just uh, being followed according to the agreement which was made. There is nothing which I'm going against the agreement. And this judge, I consider you a worthy person. That means a person who's honest to his words, who will be law abiding. And your exposition hath been most sound. That means whatever you have imparted till now, people know you for your justice. So I charge you by the law. I proclaim you. I call you for the law that it should be given, as you are a deserving pillar. You are a pillar of justice for the court. So proceed and give your judgment. And he's saying that he swears by this soul of his that whatever tongue he has given, जो उसने अपनी जबान दी है, okay, he will abide by it. He will not alter from the bond. That means he will not settle for anything less than what the bond says. Antonio, most worthy, I do beseech the court to give the judgment. Now, listening to all this, Antonio says, Ki, Caesar, I am ready. You please give the judgment. So, children, have we done till here? Portia, why then thus it is, you must prepare for his knife. So now Portia says, ki, okay. So now the justice is to be given, and you prepare your bosom for his knife. That means you start preparing yourself to be cut open by the knife of Shylock. Shylock, O noble judge, O excellent young man. So now Shylock is very relieved and happy. Finally, the knife would be given and he would cut off 1 pound of flesh. Portia, for the intent and purpose of the law hath full relation to the penalty, which here appears due upon the bond. So now she says, with the purpose and intention with which you have come to the law, in front of the law, you should be given the penalty. And since you appear here in front of the court, your bond will be followed. Now Shylock says, "'Tis very true, O wise and upright judge." So now he's praising the judge and Portia. He says, yes, that's true, and it should be done. So Portia, Therefore, lay bare your bosom. So now Portia says, okay, now so you open up your chest, open up your body, and let the 1 pound of flesh be taken. I, his breast, so says the bond. Doth it not, noble judge, nearest his heart? Those are the very words. So now Shylock says, he not any part of the body, but next to his heart, next to his breast, the area around his breast, I would like to take 1 pound of flesh. And he asks, he isn't my bond saying so? Dear noble judge, you can check it. Check my words. I have mentioned it. That he wants a flesh, wants the flesh, or 1 pound of flesh near to his, closer to his heart. Is it so? Are there balance here to weigh the flesh? So now Portia comes up. She says, okay, if this is the case, so are there balances here to weigh the flesh? Now balances Taraju. She says, is there a balance so that the flesh could be weighed? I have them already. Shylock says, I have them. Don't worry, I have the balance. Okay. Portia, have by some surgeon, Shylock on your charge, to stop his wounds, lest he do bled to death. So now Portia says, okay. So do you have a surgeon also somewhere near? Because if you inflict a wound in him, he might bleed to death. He might bleed so profusely that he might die. Now Shylock, is it so nominated in the bond? So he's saying, Yacha, is this also given in the bond that I should keep a surgeon? So now Portia, it is not so expressed, but what of that? 'Twere good you do so much for charity. So now Portia says, see, though it is not given in the bond, but then you can express some kindness, you can show some charity by at least having a surgeon nearby. I cannot find it. It is not in the bond. So now Shylock says, okay, listen, I cannot find the surgeon. It is not given in the bond, so it is not my duty. Portia, you merchant, have you anything to say? So now Portia turns out to Antonio and she says, do you have anything to say? Antonio, but little. I am well prepared. Give me your hand, Bassanio. Fare you well. Grieve not that I am fallen to this for you, for fortune has been kind. So now Antonio says, yes, I'm all mentally and physically prepared for this to happen. And then he takes up Bassanio's hand, his friend's hand, and bids him farewell. He says, do not grieve when I'm dead. Instead, believe that whatever happened happened for good. God has been kind enough. So do not take the blame that all this has happened because of you, Bassanio. Than is her custom. It is better to let the wretched man outlive his wealth. Now then he says, then let the custom, that means the usual customs, the usual preparations be better for this wealthy man, this wretched man, live a wealthy life. Okay, I have no problem to view with hollow eye and wrinkled brow an age of poverty, from which lingering penance of such misery doth she cut me off. Commend me to your honorable wife. Tell her the process of Antonio's end. So now he says, my friend, do not hold any repentance for what has happened. Do not feel guilty of what has happened. This misery, that means this sad moment, do tell her, tell your wife, the honorable wife, about our lovely friendship story, how good friends we were. Please do tell your wife about me and my end. Now, Bassanio, Antonio, I'm married to a wife which is as dear to me as life itself. But life itself, my wife, and all the world are not with me esteemed above thy life. I would lose all, I sacrifice them all, here to this devil to deliver you. So now Bassanio, being a very true friend, he says, dear friend, I am married to a very noble wife. I have a good wife, and my life is smooth. I'm living a happy life, and all the world I have, my wife, myself, and the world, the lovely treasure which this world gives, is not as great as your life. That is Antonio, his friend's life. And he says he could give up, he could sacrifice. Now, Bassanio is saying he could sacrifice his whole world for the sake of Antonio if this devil, this Shylock, who's a devil, could just help him out to deliver his sins. That means he's just ready. If Shylock could forgive him, he would give up his whole world. Now, to this, Portia says, your wife would give you little thanks for that if she were by to hear you make the offer. Now, Portia, who was Bassanio's wife, when she hears that Bassanio is ready to give up the life, the wife, and the world for Antonio, so she says, ki maybe if your wife hears this, she might not like the offer. Shylock, we trifle time. I pray thee, pursue sentence. Now Shylock is saying, okay, why are we wasting time? Why are we trifling the time? Why are you killing the time? I pray to you all that please pursue to the sentence. That means please follow what the sentence is to be given. Portia, a pound of that same merchant's flesh is, the court awards it, and the law doth give it. So now Portia says, yes, this merchant is Antonio, his flesh is to be given, and court has to award it to Shylock, has to give it to Shylock, and the law says it, and so it should be done. Now, Shylock, most rightful judge. Now he's saying, oh dear judge, to Portia, and you must cut this flesh from off his breast. The law allows it, and the court awards it. Now Portia is repeating the same what is given in the bond. She's saying yes, if the bond says you cut off his flesh from the breast, because the law says it and the court awards it to you. Shylock, most learned judge, a sentence come prepare. So now he's saying, oh, so this was a sentence, I'm all prepared for it. Let's do it. Now, Portia, tarry a little. Now she says very loudly and clearly that wait for a moment. There's something else. This bond doth give thee here no drop of blood. The words expressly are a pound of flesh. Take them thy bond, take thou thy pound of flesh, but in the cutting it, if thou dost shed one drop of blood, thy lands and goods are by the laws of Venice confiscate unto the state of Venice. So now this intelligent little girl who's dressed as Balthasar, the doctor of the law, she says it. Listen, wait, hold on for a moment, because your bond says a pound of flesh, and nowhere does it mention that you can have a drop of blood. So if you cut out the flesh, make sure there's not a single drop of blood to be dropped. Because if that blood is dropped, the bond does not say, it only says a pound of flesh. So while taking that pound of flesh, if the blood drops, you will be, that is, Shylock would be taken away with all his goods and lands. Everything that he has will be confiscated. Confiscated means would be taken away from the by the laws of Venice. Now she says this in front of the court of Venice. Is that the law? Shylock asks. ये क्या ये कानून है? Thyself shall see that. For as thou urgest justice, thou shalt have justice more than thou desires. Now Portia says, Are, just now only you said about the bond to be followed, and when we are following the bond, I'm strictly following it now. It says a pound of flesh, let that be given to you. But then it does not say that a drop of. So if that drops, if the blood drops, that means you have violated the bond. So the justice will be given
Ma'am, your voice is
We
not coming.
you more than what you deserve. Do not shall pay money you can give me, and let here is the money. Bassanio was about to give the money. Portia soft. That means she said, wait, the Jew shall have all justice soft, no haste. He shall have nothing but the penalty. Therefore prepare thee to cut off the flesh. Shed thou no blood, nor cut thou less more nor more, but just a pound of flesh. So now Portia, when Bassanio was ready to give the money, she said once again, no, 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 wait. Justice will be given to him. He wanted only the bond to be followed. So he wanted the penalty. The penalty will be given to him. Let him take off the flesh and see that there should be no blood. Apart from that, not a little more or little less should be taken out other than 1 pound of flesh. 1 pound से एक भी ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए ना कम. If thou cuttest more or less than just a pound, be found, be it but so much as makes it light or heavy in the substance, or the division of the 20th part of one poor cup scruple, nay, if the scale do turn, but in the estimation of a hair thou diest, and all thy goods are confiscate. So now she says very firmly, she says, if in this whole process, if you are unable to take the pound of flesh accurately, that means if you do not take the exact amount of 1 pound, if you take a little more or a little less, the moment you do this, the moment the scale of the balance moves slightly this side or the other side, you will be dying as well. Your money would be confiscated. All what belongs to you will be taken away. Apart from your life, also will be taken away. Why? Because the balance should weigh exactly 1 pound, neither less nor more. So you have to be very, very accurate while you are dealing with this. So we stop here for today. Palak, you can stop the recording. Thank you, girlie.